you start us off? Okay. And Joanne's under the weather tonight. Joanne Jackson is also part of our slate, as I'm sure everyone here knows. Thank you for coming out. It's a tough election year, as I'm sure you guys understand, with what's going on with the FBI and everything, and the mayor, and it's tough. So, what we're trying to stress, get out the vote, of course, is an important thing. You can all get to your people and let them know that this has got to be the year where we really come out. Why the Democrats don't come out as loyally as the Republicans do, we don't understand, we don't know. But we have to change that, especially this year. We think we have a shot. We've got what I think is a Tea Party group in control.
Well, they're a Tea Party group, yeah.
They are a Tea Party group in control. I mean, the best example is they've actually taken over the contract negotiation powers, duties, direct from the administrators. That's why you have a full-time staff to do that kind of specialized work. And here we are, they're not satisfied with Tom Mueller, and any of the union people will tell you he's not exactly Mr. Giveaway. He's a former Republican corporate CEO, but it's not good enough. These guys have to be harder ass than that, and they're gonna, just do a bad job, cut, that's no long-term consequences. So you've got to get people out, try and help us. We're just trying to get some balance on this board and do the right thing here. We've got Cedar Brook, is one of our most important issues. There are people at the end of life, and then we've got people at the beginning of their life, children and youth services, folks that investigate neglected and abused children, all under county control, and we want to get control over these budget cutters. That's all they think about. So please help us do that. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Hillary Smith. I see a couple new faces in here, so some of you might not know who I am or why I'm here running as a 37-year-old. It's a little odd for a 37-year-old to be assistant in county government. For those that don't know, I come from Lower Macungie, and how I got my start in politics was actually in the East Penn School District. I was the person who organized a lot of parents, Mark, where are you?
Right here. Taking a picture.
To get rid of Julian Stoltz off the East Penn School Board. And
Are you ready for Hillary?
Thank you. But I want to tell you a little bit about me personally, because I've lived in the Valley for 10 years, but I'm actually a pretty private person, which is kind of weird because I'm always out in public. But I actually grew up in Montgomery County, and I was a child of a single parent home. My mom raised myself and my sister on her own. And when I was really young, she lost her factory job. They went out of business, and she lost her job. And there was no job training. There was no lot of grant programs for her to go back to school. So she ended up working these really just low-wage jobs for a really long time, most of my childhood. And what would happen is when you work a wage job like that, if something happens like your car breaks down or you get an unexpected bill, you can't pay your rent, which means you get evicted. And I think one year we lived in 4 different houses within that year, which is really, really hard on a kid. It was really hard on me. And so I moved around a lot as a kid, but we had friends and family that we could stay with. So I wasn't out on the street, but what it taught me was the importance of a safety net for kids like that and for people like that that don't have family and friends that they can move in. Because of that, I started last year, I helped start a nonprofit called East Penn Neighbors Helping Neighbors in Emmaus. And basically it's a organization that had started actually a couple years ago with some of the churches locally, and they collaborate with the school district to identify families that are either homeless in the East Penn School District or at risk of being homeless. And what we do is we find them housing for a year. We pay for it up front, we fund them, we ask them to kick in once they're slowly getting back on their feet, but we get them in touch with resources like job retraining. We provide them counseling, so if they have psychological issues that are holding them back, they can get help. We provide them financial counseling. So far we've helped 3 families. They're living on their own and they're completely self-sufficient, which is amazing to me, because I was one of those kids, and I know what it's like when you come home from school and your mom's like, oh, we're gonna have to move, and you realize that next week you don't know where you're gonna live, or there's no snacks in the fridge, or you don't have dinner at night. I was one of those kids. So I know what it's like, and there are a ton of families like that in Lehigh County. We have a poverty rate that is just obscene. 23% of our kids live in poverty in Lehigh County. And we have one of the most underfunded school districts in the entire country, and now school districts. So we have a lot of need here. And we have a board of commissioners that the only thing that they care about is cutting taxes at any cost. This year, they're proposing another $2 million in tax cuts, but they don't, and I'm sure the mail's gonna go out next week or the week after, touting their tax cuts. But what they're not gonna tell you is that that tax cut will give $13 to every household, and it's cutting public safety. So now your family's gonna be less safe, my family's gonna be less safe, and I'm not okay with that. They've refused federal funding for transportation, which is absolutely crazy because obviously we have roads and bridges that need to be fixed. And if I live in Lower Mac where there's tractor trailers everywhere now. We have bridges that aren't even weighted for that. So there's so many issues that need to be taken care of at the county level. And we have ideologues sitting on the board who just don't care about the people in this county. All they care about is the political points they can score. So I'm asking all of you to do whatever you can to get the word out about this election because it is that important. We have this year to change this. Otherwise, they come in with another 4 years with a mandate and we have to fix it. So that's it for me. Do what you can. Donate, volunteer. We have a phone bank tomorrow night in Bethlehem. We need help putting signs together. Just get the word out to your family and friends because it is really that important.
As Dan said, Joe's not here. I wish she was. Those of you who haven't heard Jo speak, she's awesome. She really brings the heart. She brings the moral conscience. I'm not going to try to do that other than to say, one of the things she always says is, we're not politicians. Our mentality is we're community stewards. And I think that's really important to remember. And that's what you should have at the county commissioner level. We have a couple of people I want to just point out in our crowd here tonight that take that very seriously. And I want to say thank you to the mayor of Whitehall, Ed Moser, for coming. Thank you, and a guy that has dealt with so much bad word in Harrisburg over the last few months, and he's just become one of my heroes because of it. I want to say, Dan McNeil, thank you so much. There's so many other folks that have come to support us, and we're all very, very appreciative of it. I'm just going to tell you one thing. I mean, Dan and Hillary spelled out very clearly. This is a board that focuses only on the money that they can stop bringing in. They don't care about what it's for. They don't care about what they cut. It's not relevant to them. As long as they come out at the end of the day and say, we cut your taxes, even though it's not enough. Well, last year it wasn't enough to go to the movies once alone. This year you can go to the movies, but you can't go to an IMAX movie with your tax break from the county of Lehigh. What you will get is cuts to public safety. They're going to hollow out the programs that deal with open space, which is incredible because that's something the voters approved in a referendum. But the most important thing to me, the thing that really gets me going is we are now in probably the, 12th or 14th month of their delay over making needed renovations at Cedar Brook. They have come back and forth. I think Tom finally told them, no, you can't have a fifth engineering study on this issue.
Well, they haven't done the engineering study. This is just
that's right. This is to see how we would do the engineering study. They're also now talking about, well, maybe what we should do is build a new one. And they're like, wouldn't that be great if we build a new one? I was like, and if you buy that, I have a bridge in New York I want to sell. Here's what needs to happen with Cedar Brook. It's needed. It needs to remain a county facility. It needs to have county employees, staffing who are doing a fantastic job, and it needs to be renovated. Would you like to see me do the decision making we're going to bring to that board again? It's kind of a magic trick for people who can't make a decision for a year. Why do I feel so strongly about it? I think a lot of you know. They provide the kind of caring with skill and compassion that everybody deserves. Even those at the end of their lives who have done nothing wrong in their lives, but they outlived their money and they got sick. That happened to my dad. And in the last part of his life, he got the caring that he deserved, that he earned for winning a world war, raising 6 kids, bringing a whole bunch of people, giving back to his community. He deserved that, and he got it. And he got it at a place called Cedarbrook. So, you guys on the board, that facility will continue to return value. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the one thing about this board you have to understand is, like the old saying goes, they are people who know the cost of everything, but the value of nothing. You will get a lot different and a lot better if you go. Now, as these guys have said, we're going up a hill. Our friends, we have a tremendous registration advantage in this county. In Walt Belton, our great county chair was here. I'm bringing up this thing you hate to hear about, but that's true. We have this great. But we had that 4 years ago, and we got 4 Tea Party Republican commissioners put on the board. We have to get turnout. And specifically, we have to get turnout in the areas that we are strong in. That's City of Allentown, that's West Bethlehem. We have to maintain the great support that we get from Whitehall and Copley and Caddy and all those places in that area. If we can get that foundation, and Ed and I were talking earlier, we can move the needle on getting the turnout in Allentown and West Bethlehem. Don't tell them I said this, but they can't win mathematically. So that's the challenge, and that's why, as Hillary said, we need everybody to get out. We need you to make sure you're going to vote. We need to make sure your family, your friends, the people you work with go to vote. Make sure they understand that this is an important election. And if you do that, we're committed to making sure that we come back on our promise, and that is we will give you county government that works. Once again, thank you for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. I do want to mention we do have signs. One of our candidates has been inexcusably slow in getting his signs here. But we want you to take one if you can. Let us know all this stuff, that we can do. And thank you again for coming. Really appreciate it.
And Saturday is the day of action.
Saturday's day of action. Get on Facebook, get on the website.
Mary
let it
Kay
know.
is going to come around with a sign-up sheet, and we hope you all can give us even a couple hours.
And I wouldn't cross Mary Kay. So we've got it. Anyway, thank you again for coming, and really appreciate your support. Let's go on to victory November 3rd. Thank you.